Welcome back, guys. We have a strong chick side note for you guys today. We're going to be talking about our thoughts on cyclical fitness, kind of to wrap up last week's episode.
Yeah, we spent one of my cycles trying to structure my training around my cycle. But I think that from my point of view, I feel like I was the wrong person to test it on because I'm in perimenopause, but also because I have endometriosis. And one of the things that complicated our little experiment was that I was in this full-time flare. So instead of really using my cycle as a guide to training, we were really training around my symptoms.
Yes. I mean, we thought that cyclical fitness may be beneficial to you because typically your symptoms go hand in hand with your cycle.
For sure.
However, in this case, you had a
massive
flare that lasted pretty much your entire cycle.
So I think in this case, we can't really say whether it was beneficial to me or not. Mm-hmm. I think that one of the things we got out of it was this aim to just get me through the hour in any event, and also checking in and training appropriately for me on that day.
Yes.
And I think that that's what cyclical fitness should be about in any event, or just fitness, any kind of training.
Absolutely.
Does that mean that I don't think that this is relevant for other women? No. As long as you are already entrenched in a fitness training regime, I think that for somebody who's brand new and starting, I feel like this might be a block to getting started. Like, it's just
an extra obstacle to just get started on your fitness journey.
Exactly.
And if you're a younger woman who doesn't feel that many fluctuations in your hormones throughout your cycle, then maybe cyclical fitness may not be for you.
No, and I think it's important in any event that you as the person who is training should check in with himself and do what it is that you need. I think that on any one day, if you're in the gym or you're going for a run or you're going for a ride or whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be checking in and like, what is it that you need for that day? And if what you need that day is rest, then rest. If what you need that day is to go really hard, then do that. The evidence is quite clear that in professional athletes, at least, this is something that has benefit. So if that's you and that's your training, then of course you should do that.
Absolutely.
But if you are the hobbyist, like me, doing something that you really enjoy, and this is something that is adding on stress, then I don't think so. I think that you should maybe be more focused on getting the rest that you need, getting the nutrients that you need, and focusing on your body's individual needs rather than trying to kind of fit your training into your cycle.
Definitely. I could say from my personal experience, I wouldn't necessarily program according to my cycle because, one, I don't typically feel huge fluctuations in my hormones throughout my cycle. You can get a little bit of bloating. Of course, I'll get cramps and I'll feel like all women do, just want to lie on the couch and eat cookies.
Yeah.
But when it comes to training, when I do have my period, I've been training for so many years and I'm used to pushing past that discomfort. Also because in my experience, I know that I feel better afterwards, that I'm capable of doing it, and that I know that a lot of it for me is a mental thing.
Yeah.
But of course, if there's a day where I don't feel like pushing hard, then I don't. But that might not actually be because of my period. It could be because I didn't sleep very well the night before. It could be because I went out and I had food that I wasn't used to eating. Yeah. So like my body just feels different. In that case, then I just listen to my body without thinking so much about the cycle, but just how I feel on the day.
Yeah. I think the idea of cyclical fitness, I like this of incorporating the idea that, women have cycles. We're not just smaller men. I like that that's something that is being considered within sport and within training. But I think that maybe for you, when you were training, when you were competing, then it might have been different. Then maybe it would have made more sense to just periodize your training around your period.
Sure.
And all of these different stages of your cycle. I think that a person who is training cyclical fitness might say to you, for instance, but if you tried it, you would feel even better. You would get even more out of your training. That yes, you might be able to muscle through it, but maybe you don't need to muscle through it. Maybe if you were kind of incorporating this in, then you would see better results. And maybe for a person at your level of training, it would make sense to try. But for a person at my level of training, I don't necessarily think that it does make sense to try unless you're really curious about it and it's something that you personally would like to invest in. But for most women in my level of training, an average person at the gym.
Yeah, you need to get your basics right.
Yeah.
So just getting enough sleep, getting enough water, getting enough movement,
Yeah.
You know, finding something that you're consistent with.
Exactly.
And if all those things are in order, you've been doing it consistently for over a year, 3 years.
Yeah.
I would say, because then you're not just a
No, you're not
newbie.
a newbie. Yeah.
You know your way around the gym. You know, you've built some muscle mass, and you feel like, all right, I really want to try some other things to see if I can get an edge on my training, and I feel it makes sense for me.
Yeah.
Then by all means, I think
Then
everyone
do
should
it.
try something and see if it works for them.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything.
No, exactly. Do what works for you.
Yeah.
Listen to your body.
So this is our last episode for this season, and we're going to take a 2-week break. And then we're going to be coming back with a new season where we're going to focus on different stages of women's life and training through those stages. And this is in response to a question we got about training in pregnancy.
So in the meantime, subscribe. Find us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Strong Chatty Chicks. We'll see you again in the new season. In the meantime, stay strong.
Stay chatty.
Bye.
Bye.